You can't fix your culture until you fix this. And you can't fix your results until you fix this. You can't fix your career until you fix this. And until you fix this, you will always be just getting by, never getting ahead. Well, what is it? Your people that aren't showing up. And everything else you try to build falls apart without it. You can't lead a team that isn't there, and you can't develop people that you're covering for. You can't build a culture when you're just trying to survive the shift, and you can't get ahead when you're always working a level below where you should be because somebody didn't show up again. But here's what I know after 33 years. You don't fix an attendance problem by demanding attendance, and you fix it by building something that people actually want to show up for. I'm Todd Roberts. This is Stories from the Frontline, and today we're talking about the one thing that you have to fix first. Let me paint you a picture. It's 5 o'clock in the morning, and your shift starts in 30 minutes. Your phone buzzes. Call off number one, then number two. Then it gets ready to start. Then you have a no-show that don't even bother to show up. Your boss is already texting you asking about results and how many people are there. Does that sound familiar? If you've been a frontline manager for more than 5 minutes, you know exactly what that morning feels like. And you know what happens next. You have two choices. Well, you really only have one. You can't shut it down because it's got to go on whether there's one person or 50 people there. So that's not an option. Or you do their job yourself. So you do their job again. And here's what that actually cost you. You're now working a level below where you should be, or maybe 2 levels below where you should be. You're a manager doing the frontline worker's work. While the operation falls behind, nobody's getting led, nobody's getting developed, nobody's getting recognized because you're too busy just keeping the lights on. And it gets worse. The people who did show up, the ones who set their alarm, they got dressed and they showed up on time, now they're carrying extra weight, doing their job and somebody else's job. And they start to notice. They start to wonder why they bother to show up when they show up and others don't have to. And slowly, they stop showing up too. That's how the cycle starts. And once it starts, it's really hard to break. Because when you're always chasing the problem, you never get in front of it. Reactive mode becomes your permanent mode. You stop developing people, you stop building the culture, you stop leading, and you are just there to survive. And here's the brutal truth. When you're working short every single day, you physically cannot do what a manager is supposed to do. You can't walk the floor and check on people. You can't sit down for a one-on-one. You can't celebrate a win. You can't plan ahead because you're just too busy doing someone else's job. And that's not leadership. That's firefighting. And the managers who stay in that mode don't get promoted. They get stuck. You can't get ahead when you're always covering for people who didn't show up. And you can't fix attendance by demanding it. You fix it by building something people don't want to miss. And that's what this episode is all about. Again, we're talking about build something that people actually want to show up for. That's what I wrote this little book, 52 tips that you can use one a week to build an operation that people actually want to show up for. But let's get into this firsthand. I want to tell you about something I saw play out in my own operation, and it's something that changed the way I thought about attendance forever. 4 different areas in the operation, 4 different managers, same building, same company, same pay, same job, same everything, except one thing. Area A was short 5 or 6 people every single day. Area B, short 2 or 3 people every single day. Area C was struggling constantly, and Area D, fully staffed every single day, like clockwork. Now, everybody in the building noticed, and everybody wondered why. How does one manager have all his people showing up? While everyone else is scrambling, let me tell you what that one manager was doing differently. He knew his people. He not just their names, he knew their lives, he knew their families, he knew what mattered to them outside of work, and he talked to them. Every single day before the shift started, he'd walk up, look them in the eye, and ask how they were doing. Not about the job, but about them. He communicated clearly every single day before the shift. He told his team exactly what that day looked like. Here's the goal. Here's what we're going to try to accomplish. Here's what time we're starting. Here's what time we should finish. No surprises, no chaos. They could plan their life around their job. They knew what to expect, and he recognized them publicly and specifically. Not great job, everyone. He called out a specific person for a specific thing in front of the whole team. And the result, his people wanted to show up. Not because they had to, because they wanted to. Because they felt seen, because they felt valued, because they knew exactly what was expected of them. And here's the painful part of the story. Because his area was always fully staffed, guess what happened? His people constantly got pulled to cover the other areas. The manager who did everything right got penalized for it. His best people got spread out across the operation to cover for the areas that didn't invest in their people. And that's tough. That's really tough. But here's what I did when that happened. I recognized that manager publicly. I called out what he was doing in front of his peers, and I made sure everyone knew he was being a team player and that it wasn't going unnoticed. Because when you do the right thing and nobody acknowledges it, you stop doing the right thing. The lesson from Area D is simple. 4 areas, same building, same pay, same job. One manager had full attendance every day. The difference wasn't the people, it was the leader. Now let's talk about why people don't show up. And that's a big problem. I hear that as the number one issue from pretty much any industry, any operation. The people showing up is the number one issue across any industry in today's world. And it's probably the most managers' number one problem is, are my people going to show up? Because people just kind of come to work when they want and when they don't, and like it's no big deal. Most managers think attendance sometimes an HR problem or there's an employee problem. And sometimes it is, but more often than not, most people want to admit it. It's a leadership problem. So here's the truth. People don't skip work they love. They skip work they don't care about. And they don't care about work where nobody cares about them. I want you to think about it. If you genuinely look forward to going to work and getting that paycheck and seeing your peers having a good time and going home and feeling rewarded, if you felt valued and clear what was unexpected and part of something bigger, would you skip? Probably not. Now, let's look at 3 real reasons employees stop shipping up. And the first one has to do with connection to purpose. They don't even know why they're there. They don't know why the work matters. They show up, do the task, and go home, and they feel like a number. And when you don't feel like what you do matters, skipping becomes a lot easier. The second reason is they feel invisible. Nobody knows their name. Nobody notices when they're there, and nobody notices when they're gone. If nobody notices when you're gone, why would you show up? The third reason could be the environment itself. Inconsistent schedules that are always changing. You never know what you're going to work until either sometimes up to the hour before it starts or days. How can you plan your life around inconsistent schedules? Unclear expectations. They don't know what's expected of them or of the job. Feeling like the rules change every day. That's true. When people can't plan their life around their job, they start choosing their life over their job. And I want to talk about one specific problem, which is the new hire. Most attendance problems start in the first 30 days. A new employee comes in, the job is really hard. Nobody warned them. They'd been sitting on their couch and now they've got a job and it's hot and it's physical and they weren't ready for it. Nobody warned them and nobody checks on them. Now they feel invisible and overwhelmed and they disappear. So here's what I did differently on that. We talked to every one of our new hires every single day for the first 2 weeks. Just a simple check-in. How's it going? Is there anything you need? And I told them something that made a big difference. We told them the first couple of weeks are the hardest. It does get better, and that's it. And that one sentence told them 2 things. Number 1, someone's paying attention. And number 2, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. It gets better. And we documented it too. A simple daily check-in question, asking how they're feeling about the job. And that little survey on their phone, That documentation told us early if someone was struggling before they disappeared. And the schedule piece, this is huge and most managers overlook it. When people know exactly when they work, what days they're off, what time they start and finish, they can build their life around that schedule. They can arrange childcare, they can make plans, and they can commit. Change the schedule every day, and they can either commit to anything, including showing up. Most attendance problems really aren't attitude problems, they're connection problems. When people feel seen, valued, and clear on what's expected, they usually will show up. So, how do you fix it? I'm going to give you 3 things that you can start doing tomorrow morning. Not next quarter, not after your next training, but tomorrow morning. And again, if you want more, there's 52 tips in this book that can give you good tips to build that engagement, get people that reason to show up. Tomorrow morning, number 1, talk to your people. Not about work, about them. Pick one person on your team tomorrow and learn something about their life. That has nothing to do with the job. Their family, what did they do this weekend? Their favorite sports team, or maybe even their favorite sport, something. That one conversation shifts the dynamic because suddenly you're not just the boss, you're a person. And people show up for people. They don't show up for the job description. Number 2 is communicate clearly every single day before your shift starts. 5 minutes, that's all it takes. Tell your team what the day looks like. Hey, here's the goal. Here's what success looks like today. Here's what time we should finish if everything goes right. No surprises, no chaos. 5 minutes of clarity before the shift starts. That eliminates more problems than any HR policy ever will because people need to know what to expect. They can deliver it. When they're guessing every day, they check out. Now, number 3, recognize specifically and publicly, not, hey, great job, everyone. Pick one person. Call out a specific thing they did in front of the team every single day. Takes 30 seconds, but it changes everything. Because when people know they'll be recognized, if they show up, they show up. And what gets noticed gets repeated. Now, and this is important, it has to be fair and consistent. If you let some people come and go as they please, or you recognize the person that missed the last 3 days, you just set a dangerous precedent you don't want to do with. While you hold others accountable, you've already lost. Your team sees everything. Inconsistency kills trust faster than anything, but fair and consistent accountability combined with fair and consistent recognition, that's a combination that builds a culture people don't want to miss, and it gives them a purpose. Tell them why the work matters, why we're here, what we're trying to accomplish together. Unite them around something bigger than just the task. When people feel part of something, they protect it. They show up. You can't mandate attendance, especially in today's world, but you can build a culture that people don't want to miss. Start with those 3 things. Know them, communicate clearly, recognize specifically. Do those 3 things consistently, and your attendance problem starts solving itself. Now, here's what changes when your people show up. Everything. Think about it. If you had every single person tomorrow, what would your job look like? Well, you actually get to do your job. You get to walk the floor as a leader, not as a worker. You get to hold real conversations with your team. You get to recognize wins. You get to develop people. You get to plan ahead. You get to be proactive instead of reactive. And here's the compounding effect nobody talks about. When your team shows up and the operation runs the way it's supposed to be, the people in your team see a functioning culture. They feel what it's like to be part of something that works, to win, and they want to protect it. A new hire comes in, and instead of feeling invisible and overwhelmed, they feel the culture. They want to be a part of it, and they stick around, and that's how cultures grow. That's just like winning football teams. Vince Lombardi, again, we talked about him and some other things. The Vince Lombardi, 26 lessons, the Lombardi rules. He had it clear of building this team that people wanted to be a part of, and it creates excitement and culture that people run through the wall for. And it's not just a motivational poster on the wall. It's from a leader who showed up differently and led differently and built something worth being a part of. And here's a career piece that managers who build teams that show up, you get noticed. You stand out. Not because you demanded attendance, but because you built something nobody else could. That's how you stand out. That's how you get promoted. And that's how you build a reputation that follows you everywhere you go. And the opposite of all that is also true. Managers stuck in constant firefighting mode never get ahead because they can't. They're too busy just surviving and reacting. And the organization sees that too. So here's the choice every manager has to accept: accept the cycle or break it. And breaking it starts with one shift, one conversation, one decision to do something different. Don't follow what everyone else is doing. That decision is available to you tomorrow morning. When your team shows up, you get to show up as a leader. And when you show up as a leader, everything starts to change. And that's how you stop just getting by and start getting ahead. Now, I want to leave you with something real. If you're listening to this right now and you recognize yourself in any of it, the short staff days, the covering for people who didn't show up, the feeling of working harder than everyone around you and still falling behind, I want you to know something. That's not a you problem. That's a system problem. And system problems can be changed. Now, not overnight, not with one conversation, but one shift at a time. But you've got to start. Start tomorrow. Learn one thing about one person on the team that has nothing to do with work. Spend 5 minutes before the shift telling them exactly what the day looks like. Call out one specific person for one specific thing in front of the group. Do that consistently. And I promise you, the culture starts to shift. The attendance starts to improve, and you start to feel like a real leader again, not just a firefighter. That's the mission of this podcast. Not give you theory, not to give you a lecture about leadership, but give you one real story and one real tool in every single episode. So you can stop just getting by and start getting ahead. I'm Todd Roberts, and this is Stories from the Frontline. But before you go, I have one question for you. What's the biggest people challenge you're dealing with right now? Drop it in the comment, send me a message, because your challenge might be the next episode. We'll see you next week.